GrokTALK.
New Hampshire is famous for scenic drives, but they're tough to enjoy when you're on your way to the doctor. Because Obamacare limits your choices, some will have to drive more than an hour to see a doctor. What's health insurance worth if care isn't there when you need it? Jean Shaheen voted for Obamacare, putting your doctors and hospitals further out of reach. Tell Senator Shaheen Obamacare is not working for New Hampshire.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone-stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you can only get from GraniteGrok.com.
GrokTALK.
All right, welcome back to GrokTALK, brought to you by GraniteGrok.com and the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers. Visit them at cnht.org. Visit us at GraniteGrok.com. Check us out on iHeart, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, and iTunes, available online, or get the app and take us with you, please. You don't have a microphone. Why are you talking? See? This might be a good thing. I like to pick on Skip. Without whom none of this would be possible, by the way.
Indeed.
Let's not forget about that. So, Kevin Kerwick.
Including this rat's nest of wires.
Including this rat's nest of wires, exactly. Actually, if you're not going to talk, could you give her the headset so I can take that off because it screws up the audio? Okay, so switch those wires and things and do that stuff and then unplug that other thing so we can listen to her and that'll be fine. So he's going to fix that while we move on to Kevin, who started an interesting discussion. I guess interesting is the right word, over at the RLCNH blog site. And we can talk about that, or we don't have to, or we can talk about any of the things that came up in that stream. But there was something in the neighborhood of like 1,000 comments to this thing.
Pretty
wild.
And
I actually made one remark on it, so naturally I got every single status update. And I would like leave my laptop to go to lunch, and I'd come back, and there would be 100 comments. And then I would like go to sleep, and I would wake up, and there would be like another 100 comments. And this went on for days and days and days. And I didn't. I checked in every now and then. When Kevin wrote something, I went to see, because I figured I could get a flavor for what was going on during the discussion.
I'm flavorful. I am very flavorful.
And well, you do sell beer, so and so talk to us about that. That was it's not everybody who can just throw something out on Facebook and get 1,000 people.
I don't know how it
people to
happened
make
either.
1,000 remarks.
Yeah.
It wasn't 1,000 people.
Yeah, but I read the things that I read what Susan writes religiously. I read what everybody writes a lot. So, but I get frustrated. I want to put some things out there, and social media is a powerful vehicle for information sharing and for activism. And I'm an activist, so I like to put some ideas out there. And this just came from a frustration, not so much that I'm really happy with the Republican Party, but for me at this stage in kind of where we are, I just feel like we're spending way too much time criticizing kind of our own and not enough time really going after the biggest enemy in the room, which are the kind of Marxist Democrats, the Democratic Party. And so that's what I really wanted to say.
It was a resource question. It wasn't necessarily a philosophical debate about whether there were good Republicans, bad Republicans. It was just like certain people were spending an awful lot of time attacking. Pick a candidate. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could pick a. Hang on. Talk.
David Booten.
David Booten. Yeah, I mean, and he deserves our outrage and our umbrage. But I think his point is that he sucks. Great. That's fantastic. He's not even in my district, so I mean, you can attack him all you want. I have my own issues over there, but I've been attacking Jean Shaheen nonstop since before she was a senator. I'm not going to stop now. Just as an example, if I was going to focus my energy on Democrats, because as a party, Jean Shaheen's just another part of their little Borg empire, and they all vote the same way pretty much. You're rarely going to find a Democrat who doesn't vote that way. Right. So when she ran for office, I was like, do we really need another Democrat in Washington, D.C.? Do we really? Well, we have another problem. We have Republicans in New Hampshire who vote like Democrats. Do we need another? So, I mean, that was the debate. And it was really just a resource issue. You know, who should we be spending the most time talking about? Democrats and their issues, or these crappy Republicans?
Yeah.
And of course, everybody's going to pick the races they want to talk about. But
yeah.
a lot of people responded to that.
They did.
And that was really the point of the discussion. Holy cow. So what did they say?
All kinds of different things. I just decided for me that I'm not happy with many of the Republicans running, really. There's one or two that I think, okay, I could kind of get behind, but I don't really like any of them very much. Mm-hmm. But I know I really don't like any of the Democrats a lot. So the way I keep my psychological integrity is I'm just going to go after them, right? So I'm not really so much supporting anybody else. I'm going after what is the real evil, I think, in the room.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's pretty much the decision I've come to. You know, I'm going to stop attacking the individual Republicans, although I ain't laying off Putin. Sorry, I actually wrote, "I hope he loses." You know, but by and large, you know, we've got our Republicans on the ticket. We opposed most of them during the primaries, and I think the time is just to not say anything against them unless they do something egregious, because we've got plenty of Democrats to bash.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the GOP insists on continuing to bash and dun its base. Mm-hmm. It's like you're a bunch of idiots for not doing what we tell you, and by the way, give us the money. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that, and I am going to keep bashing them.
Yeah, I'm up for that too. But I voted for Hemingway. I voted for Garcia. I voted for, everybody the only one that won was Garcia, I think, that I voted for. So what am I going to do? I could just sort of wallow in that, I guess, or just kind of move forward.
Yeah, so Garcia will do okay, I believe. Less so some of the others, but we'll give them our best shot. I mean, in my area, we got Kevin Avard running for state senate, and he's a thoroughly good guy.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And according to Steve Valancourt, he's got a chance. Mm-hmm. If others of you didn't know, Valancourt had a number of posts up this week on NH Insider where he talked about polling data that he had collected, done a great deal of work collecting, and how it looked really, really bad for Democrats. And I think that's an interesting, and he's an inside guy. He's been, we don't agree on a lot of things, but he's been there and he's very thorough and he does a lot of digging, and we could butt heads all day, but he's like relentless in his pursuit of information, and he shares it all on NH Insider, which is a great site at nhinsider.com. Go there and read. But he's collected a lot of this data, and he's gone to all these different sources, and he looks at it, and he's not one to just say, oh, Republican this, Republican that. He's just as likely to be hating on Bill O'Brien as a Democrat is. But to give you some perspective. But to have that information available doesn't look good for Democrats. And I found that interesting because where we are, inside this sausage factory,
Haggis factory.
The haggis factory, very good. You get in this, your worldview is shaped by that. The same reason that the people who are the low information voters have their worldview, because they're not at all involved in it. We have the opposite problem. So sometimes we have a habit of looking into it too far a certain way, or seeing a certain thing, and then something else happens, and we're like, because
right, and
we are a very small percentage of the voting populace.
Yeah.
So everybody we talk to says, we're all going to lose, we're all going to lose, we're all going to lose. We're all like, that's what you're exposed to every day.
And the Democrats are much simpler. They run on, I give you stuff, right? And Republicans are evil. It's pretty much two.
I'll give you his stuff.
I'll give you stuff. Republicans are evil. Yeah, I'll take stuff from him, give it to you. Republicans are evil. If that doesn't work, then they go with racism and gender,
and
sexism.
It's their fault that
but it's
it
very
didn't
simple.
work. The fact that I took his stuff to give to you and you're not happy enough is his fault, or his fault, or her fault. It's not their fault. Always. I was just reading Bastiat was talking about that again. It's funny how a couple hundred years ago, here's a guy talking about people, because the Constitution is about human nature. The Declaration is about human nature. It's not about human nature in the 17th century or the 18th century. It's about human nature. We were talking about original source documents last week. You go all the way back to Plato. You go all the way back to the earliest writings. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Mesopotamia or you're in Virginia. Human nature has not changed all that much.
It never will.
And
no, it hasn't.
When Bastiat talks about legislators thinking they're brilliant experts and that they can solve all our problems, they thought that hundreds of years ago, and they still think it today, and it still doesn't work. So,
sure.
You know,
For sure.
that's
No, and that's exactly the problem. And there were economists, philosophers, and students of the law in the 16th and 17th centuries that had done a very good job of codifying most of previous history and human nature and economic nature, and the founders had a huge wealth to draw upon, and it is to the shame of the country that the Democrats can actually get away with pretending that all this stuff doesn't exist, that none of this history matters, that this time it's different. Yeah, it'll probably blow up worse this time.
It will for sure.
Guys, come on.
what I think you could surmise the entire founder's philosophy by saying, people suck. This might be the best chance we have.
I think so.
And that's pretty much it. Human nature needs to be constrained. Here's our best shot at it.
Right. I think that's right. And we keep thinking we can do better than that. We can. And now we really think we can do better than it now, and we're pushing so far that we're in a lot of trouble.
The best we can do is to plug some of the cracks in the Constitution, not fundamentally alter it. Yeah. Things like making the Commerce Clause actually mean what it says instead of letting the government interpret it.
For sure. But let's talk about libertarians a little bit. Can we do that?
We can talk about libertarians.
Yes, we can.
They're somewhere between us and libertarians.
Sometimes people call me a libertarian. Oh, you want to put Skip on for that? They should.
You need to speak.
No, I'm going to get on a rant, and it's just going to take too long.
Go ahead.
No,
you
this
can
is
rant
great.
first.
This is great. Go for it.
Why don't you rant before I go? Go ahead.
They can listen to me
Yeah.
every single week.
They do.
They do, exactly, and I read you every
That's
single day.
the whole point.
And this is all fine and good, Kevin, when you say, yeah, well, we're going to, maybe I didn't like who won, who didn't win, but by God, I'm going to vote for Republicans. Well, that's just crap, okay? That's just crap. I got an email Friday. I think it was Friday. I don't remember anymore. And basically told one more time to shut up, sit down.
Oh, this is the one you showed us when you came in.
Eat the haggis, okay? Eat the freaking haggis. And I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. I get an email that says, we need to get behind Senator Booten and the rest of the Republican candidates in Merrimack County and fight the union machine. Excuse me, who voted against right to work?
Booten.
David Booten. For those of you who supported Jane Cormier in the primary and have differences of opinion with Senator Booten, differences of opinion. Now, I want you to think...
It's not opinion, it's fundamental philosophy.
It's drinking and swearing on video in public, for God's sake.
The guy has no
it's
morals.
Shaking down people and trading your vote for constitutional carry. But let me continue.
Please.
For those of you who supported Jane Cormier in the primary and have differences of opinion with Senator Booten, as I have from time to time, it's time for cold hard thought. The primary is the time for passion and principle. But the general election is coming. So let's just throw passion and principle out the window.
Good. So without passion and principle, there's no reason to turn out. So we're still not going to vote for him.
The primary is the time for passion and principle, and the general is the time for defeating Democrats. They are the constant, vigilant enemies of constitutional government. Go on their websites. See what they stand for. If you are genuinely committed, Kevin, to conservatism, personal liberty, small, not just smaller. This is a parenthetical expression. Not just smaller government. Minimizing taxes, fiscal responsibility, protection of innocent human life, as opposed to not innocent human life. I don't get that. Second Amendment rights and the other principles in our platform, which has not been published and is missing still for how many days?
Ooh,
12.
12 days.
The 12 days of platform.
New Hampshire held hostage day 12.
Indeed.
Like having signs pro choice
Yeah.
position, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Or snot browns.
Yeah.
You will not work for the election of people like Maureen Manning. General elections are a zero-sum game. So if you don't work for the Republican nominees, you may as well be working for Democrats like Maureen Manning. Every abstention, every write-in is a vote for Manning and her kind.
Are they beginning to grasp that they may have a stark future, as I keep reminding them?
Every public swipe at the Republican candidate gets the Democrats that much closer to governing you. Well, I call BS. You know what? I'm not going to vote for these people. I'm